Welcome to BMTV's flagship sports program. It is Beyond the Whistle with me, your host, Isaac Chipwatanga. For the next 60 minutes or so, reflect on a very historical day if you are a supporter of the Democratic Republic of Congo, because yesterday they managed to get their first goal at the World Cup. And of course, the maiden point in as far as the global showpiece is concerned. They were making a return to the global stage for the first time in 52 years. The last time they were at the World Cup before 2026 was way back in 1974. We'll be also looking back at what transpired with the Three Lions. Is it coming home? Is the big question on the lips of all the fans from the United Kingdom. And of course, following the Three Lions in their quest to earn that second star on their shirt. Remember the last time and the only time that they won the FIFA World Cup was way back in 1966. So all that coming up in our review segment of the show, but also building up to the second round of matches, because yesterday the four matches the four matches that were played ensured that we said goodbye to the first round of matches. So 24 matches have played so far. The entire group stages comprises of 72 matches. In those 24 matches, we have had 75 goals that have hit the back of the net. It's a record World Cup that has 104 games. It means that we're now standing at 80 games to go before we crown a champion on the 19th of July. I'm not alone on set. I'm with illustrious company, in fact, royalty in as far as football is concerned. We've decided that we'll change the tactical approach in as far as our analytical perspective is concerned. And of course, William Njovu, who normally plays in central midfield, is now playing on the wing, probably to give us that balance. William, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Isaac.
I know you didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And of course, the big boss, we need somebody, obviously, to play the role of N'Golo Kante in central midfield. Yeah. This is where resident football analyst on BMTV, Gezani Mbewe, joins us and is seated in between me and William Njovu. Gezani, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. It's good to be back. Of course, being in the midfield, I think I'll try to behave like Herman Makelele.
Yeah.
Discipline. Yeah, very disciplined, of course. We know that I think William is aging, so maybe we try to put him on the wing so that at least he can bring up those runnings.
Yeah. Yes. Not playing the way he used to play. Maybe similar to the way...
Well, defensive midfielder is so involving because you need to make sure that you have enough energy. And we have
playing like a certain player from Portugal, who didn't live up to expectation, but we'll get into that in a moment or two. Let's begin with something off the field of play. And this one is a story that is close to us if you're a Zambian, because we do know that Hervé has been appointed as the new Tunisian coach. And in this regard, he's since flown into their base in Mexico and has since taken his first, training session. But before he took to the field, you can see those images there on your screen, Hervé addressing the players. Let me just read a quote, from that address to the players. He said, "Do you know how much money people spent to travel all the way here just to support you? Do you know what will happen if you return home today? The entire world is angry. I was fired from my job just days ago. I was sitting in front of my TV screen watching the World Cup. You cannot imagine what that felt like. You are lucky to be here, so get out there and move, guys." Those are quotes from that address, William. And I want to address my next question to you, because you have shared the dressing room with Hervé. He has been your coach. You've seen him at close quarters. And we remember fondly what that, halftime interval, addressed to the players at the last World Cup when he was coach of, the Saudi Arabians, which prompted them or encouraged them or motivated them to win against the eventual champions, Argentina. Just tell us or share with us and the viewers your memories of Hervé giving those pep talks, especially before crucial matches or at halftime when seemingly things are not going well for the Chipolopolo boys.
Yeah, I think Hervé is one coach that I know that he understands he does so well in these things, like to try and motivate players. Sometimes not even using football language. A lot of times he will just go off football, tell a story or say things that are not even football related, but you know, that things that they can lead something in maybe the desire to fight more, or the hunger to try to the hunger for the player to go on the field and say, okay, we really have to do it. If you hear the coach, you see people pay, how much people put in for you guys to travel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's taxpayers' money. Basically.
Yes. I remember also just before the final, Zambia against Ivory Coast, he said, I know you, all of us understand that you have 14 million plus by then it was million Zambians are with you guys, are rooting now behind you. And remember them every time every minute you be on that pitch. Remember that 14 million plus people are rooting for you, are behind you guys, and this should be your motivating factor. So you can see his same approach, but different kind of, he's one of the best man manager that I know, a coach that I know.
Some insights there from Chipolopolo, former midfielder. That's William Njovu, taking us through, memory lane and sharing some insights into the mindset of one of the greatest coaches on the African continent, indeed the world. Hervé Renard has done wonders wherever he has been, whether it's the Chipolopolo boys or, of course, the Saudi team that beat the eventual champions, as we alluded to, in Saudi Arabia. Let's just quickly move on to something else and related, to Hervé Renard, but probably just taking a look at, the next matches for the 10 representatives from the African continent. And I will bring in Gezani here just to elaborate a little bit further on this graphical depiction, which shows, the next matches for the African teams. Of course, we do know that South Africa are playing today in that match against Czechia. And of course, we know it's Scotland up against Morocco. And of course, the Germans lock horns against Ivory Coast. Tunisia, and this is where I'm going to pause for a bit, guys, because they're up against the Blue Samurai of Japan. For me, the big question is, hearing the sentiments from, William, about how great of a motivator Hervé Renard is, do you think in this short period of time, he can motivate this Tunisian side to get a result and get a good performance against, the Blue Samurai, which is a team that is extremely organized?
Well, I think if you look at the mentality that the coach brings up, like William has just said, it's all about, I think, one, he knows how to suck the pressure out of the players.
Yeah.
Then later on, he'll motivate you, and he will require to up the standard of where how you played. So you are looking at the team that just lost against Sweden 4-1. Then now you pick that team. Forget about how you lost it, but remember that how you lost it, it injured people back home. Yeah. And not only at home in Tunisia, but also in the world. So now, as a player, what do? You up your preparations. We know that Japan is a very quite disciplined team. They know they'll play according to the instructions. And that coach is very, very good because he understands football. Yeah. And you look at them, even if they are under pressure, even if you're attacking on them, they'll not lose focus. They'll remain disciplined, and they'll make sure that when they've got a chance, they're going to hit on you. So I think the coach has just come in, and he offers that brilliance energies. He ups the energy because you know that after the coach, you bring up the new coach, every player, you know how these players, they'll behave. Sometimes they'll surprise you. Sometimes my players. So you see, the coming up of every now, they will modify the mentality of the players. I hope that, football, anything can happen. You can be surprised that Japan can be beaten by Tunisia. Then you ask yourselves, where were these energies when they lost against Sweden? So I think it brings up, this buffing just going to the World Cup, I think it tells you a story saying that Hervé Renard has been to the World Cup before with Saudi Arabia. So he understands, he knows how it is. If this is the Saudi Arabia that he cooked and managed to beat Argentina, the defending champions at that time, this time, it tells you a story that I think he doesn't respect any team, but what he just does is to require maximum concentration with his team.
Yeah. Let's move on to another interesting and historical aspect of the World Cup. Yesterday, the Black Stars of Ghana, so many problems, William, surrounding this, team before they even kicked the ball at this World Cup. The sacking of Otto Addo and bringing in of a new coach in Carlos Queiroz. The fact that Kudos was injured, he's their key player in that midfield. Partey, another senior player, not even allowed to travel to play in this particular encounter, but they still managed to get a result. Is that a direct reflection or impact of, the introduction of Carlos Queiroz in terms of the technical bench leading this, Black Stars at this World Cup?
Yeah, I think you could see in yesterday's fixture, you could see, that Ghana really are going through a lot because they did not really dominate the way we the way I expected myself. I saw that they were always at back foot. They're always defending this game. And then, they had a chance. And then they scored. I was not really convinced. And you just mentioning those things that I've been going through. Now I get a clear picture of why I saw a performance like that. Key players missing. But also, like what we always say, some players react positively to change of technical. And it could have been one of the reasons why, regardless of the problems that are going through, they were resilient, they defended, though a lot of times they are lucky because opportunities are created by, but they did not just convert them. But I'm really happy that they were able to win this game regardless of the issues that are going through.
Okay, I'm going to turn to Guess in a moment, but let me get your thoughts from a player perspective because it's in the rainy season, the middle of the rainy season in Mexico. This Ghanaian side is based in the USA. They had to travel, to play this particular match in, Mexico. Do climatical conditions sometimes play a role when it's the pitch is wet? Does it play a role in terms of how you tactically approach the game? And maybe sometimes that even affects the way you can apply yourself on a football match.
Yeah, that most definitely the weather is a key factor in terms of where football is concerned. Why? Because, in the US it's very hot right now. And you say Mexico is rainy.
Yeah.
Obviously, these are two parallel weathers.
Yeah.
The other side is cold and the other side is hot. Usually, yes, it plays a part. But a case where the pitch is wet, yes, doesn't, because even there in the US, they make sure that you can never play on a dry pitch. They play on a wet pitch at all times. So if you have players that don't acclimatize in quicker, then you have challenges. So again, that is another challenge that again you can see that the Ghana performance was not the best performance I've seen them play. You can see why again, because they are cold and hot. That's why when you're doing preparations, when they know maybe the FA knows that you're going to play in the hot weather, you have to prepare, go to a country that is hot. When you know that it's going to be cold, you prepare going to a country that is cold. Why? Because you want the body to acclimatize, to get used to, because the breathing is difficult when you're from cold to hot. The breathing is.
And I'm told that the altitude is quite high as well. That's another issue that
so
they were facing.
all those things, I don't know how they put a team in one region and play in another region. For me, teams should. Group stages, quarterfinal, whatever the case, teams should be.
Just to say, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. For me, it doesn't.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But I understand why the Ghana Football Association did it, and maybe this is also one of the major issues with this particular World Cup, because their training base is in the USA. We already know that they are playing 3 matches in the group stages. Only one against the match that they played yesterday against Panama is being played in Mexico. The other 2 are being played in the USA. So they made a calculated decision to say, well, since we're playing most of our matches here in the USA, we're better off having a training base here in the United States of America. In a way, isn't this a problem that FIFA have created? Ideally,
for me, it is
ideally if you're playing all your group matches in one country, you make it
exactly. So it is all about. I think you have to know that this team is playing their matches.
Yeah.
If they need to set their base in America, let them be in America.
Yeah.
Why do you want to shift them? Maybe there's a game. Unless if you qualify to the next round, then say that I think why you've qualified, they need to go to another country. Then
it's okay
to switch on.
Yeah.
Because you have like 2 days. 3 days before you play that when you go in the knockout stages.
Yes.
So you have like 2-3 days to acclimatize.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a confusion that FIFA have created.
Yeah.
And even if usually, yes, the last games of each group will be played at the same time.
Yeah.
So usually you have to change like the stadium or the base, but it can be, you can change within the US,
exactly.
or you can change within Mexico or Canada, you know. So,
but Ghana, they've got a lot to do.
Yeah.
No, they have a lot.
They've got a lot to do because I think we have to look at the continuation.
Yeah.
This is their 5th World Cup that they are having. They started, I think, 2006 playing the World Cup. 2010, they had a very good outing when they just reached as far as the quarterfinals in South Africa. But again, what happens there? I think the gradual process of how they could just upgrade the players. Look at this, the cream that they had, the likes of Suri Muntari, the likes of SN. I think the likes of they had the best in their cream. But the players that were made to fit in those boots and replace them, I think is difficult to say, because you look at the Ayu brothers. I think for me, of course, right now, it's one of those players that they have got the highest caps. Talking about 121 experienced. But again, the process on how they have just phased out the likes of Suri Muntari, Michael Essien, Asamoah Gyan. Of course, I think you saw Asamoah Gyan, I think, dancing. But that win, I think, for me, was not that convincing. Like you are saying, Coach. I think for me, I wasn't. But of course, a win is a win, because they just have got maybe a draw. They might just qualify to the last stage too.
Another probably thing that we need to actually zero in is the fact that you remember in 2014 in the World Cup in Brazil, there were all sorts of issues off the field of play. Maybe this is something that holds back African teams from performing at the highest level. Administratively, we heard that there was a plane carrying money to Brazil to pay the players because they had boycotted and so on and so forth. But let's return to the action on the field last night, because the raw emotion, and I'm sure we can see this because the director is probably going to bring up an image or two of the Ghanaian players, because the timing of that particular goal, scored in almost the dying minutes. I think that was the 94th or 95th minute of that particular encounter. And you can see the raw, emotions on the Black Stars player. And that goal scored by a 20-year-old. I want to get your expertise, thoughts on this. Caleb Nyirenki. I want to pronounce that correctly. From the Right to Dream, Academy. Now he's on the books of Neuseeland in Danish football. The fact that we're seeing coaches from the African continent believe in youngsters. The Moroccans believed in an 18-year-old. I mean, everywhere you look, you see coaches believing in young talent to perform even at the highest stage, such as the World Cup. I want you to speak to that and why we've got this culture in Zambian football amongst our coaches where we seemingly do not have any belief that, young players, can do it at the highest level.
Oh, we have belief even in our young players, because if you look at even the Africa Cup that we had participated, we had young players like, I think, Matthews Banda, very young, and he contributed. Of course, I think he had 1 or 2 mistakes, but it is not all about here in Zambia. I talked about Zambia, but I'm honest with you, in Zambia, it is not all about sideline the young ones, but there is so much what happens, I think, with the coaches. They believe when you give most of the chances to the young ones, who is going to benefit? First, they look at who is the agent. Who is the beneficiary? Suppose this player has been spotted. So I think it's very difficult. And He knows what I'm talking about. We've reached the level where, but even the national team will criticize that this one is coming from this academy. This one is coming. Why have they picked this academy? I think a true story is about under 17. You look at how they're going to be picked. Even at the highest level, we've seen players who just come in. Sabobo comes in and he brings and he changes. One cross, then we have a goal. So in Zambia, we've got a lot of things that goes around. The problem is that of our coaches. He is one of the coaches. A coach is an agent. A coach is he's got three positions. A coach is a CEO. A coach is a coach, but he knows what I'm talking about. It is all about a coach wants to fit in. Or maybe he wants to steal the job of a CEO. He wants to steal the job of an agent. So I think in that situation, this is the reason. We've got talent here in Zambia. He's tutoring most of them. I think he's handling the players who are less than 25 years. He knows what I'm talking about.
Being part of the under 15 and under 17.
Exactly. He passed through this. He played at the highest level when he was in academy. And even at his level right now, he's managing the team that has got close to 60%. They are younger than maybe 25 years.
We have to wrap up because we're pressed for time on this issue with Ghana. But I want to get your thoughts in under a minute, both. How important was this victory for Ghana, considering that their next match is against England, and after that they have to face Croatia, who lost to England, so who will probably be wounded in that third game and probably need a result. So how important was it for their chances, realistically, to get out of this particular group, to get 3 points against Panama?
It's very, very important. For every team at the World Cup, any tournament, your first game is very important, regardless of how you perform. We're criticizing Ghana that they did not play well, this, that. But the truth is that when you grind this is why you see even in the images, you see how happy they were. They were losing this game, practically losing this game, and they scored towards the end of the game. Surely, believe me, this was very, very important. And for me, it is going to motivate them. It is going to bring the belief. And, this is how teams, suddenly you even have new stars born in the squad. Why? Because you won a game that you are not expected to win. And then suddenly players believe. Some players that did not believe that they will even play, they will have the belief. And the next, you see maybe a different Ghana in the next game for sure.
Yes, and just emphasize the importance of that.
Well, I think it was very important, Isaac, because you look at this is the team that you have to beat. You are being in the same group with the England and Croatia. It's very difficult to beat them because they've got that vast experience at the World Cup level. But Panama is their second World Cup that they are, I think, are going. So I think for me, no, it's their first World Cup that they're having Panama. They're the
second World Cup.
Should be the second.
It's the second.
Should be the second. The second. So, but they have never won a game at the World Cup. So I think for me, when you want to survive, they just need a draw. If they can have a draw, they can fall in the lucky part of maybe qualifying to the next round. So it was very important.
And of course, for Panama, I think they actually benefited from the fact that, they come from Central America, which meant that, the heavyweights in as far as the region, which is Central America and of course, North America and the Caribbean islands, three of their nations in Mexico, the United States and, Canada qualified automatically. It meant that, they didn't have to face them in qualification. And as a result, probably it opened up a space, for the likes of, Panama to qualify for this particular World Cup. A similar situation with probably even Haiti, who don't normally get, to the World Cup. But the fact that you have the big boys, qualified automatically, it meant that, they were probably, quote unquote, the big boys amongst the rest, if you exclude, the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. You mentioned, Croatia and the United States of America. They played a thrilling 6-goal, encounter. The English on the right side of that, particular scoreline. How do you summarize their performance? And do you think it's coming home this time around?
It's very difficult to say that it's coming home because you're talking about Croatia. You look at them. It was more of a revenge. You remember in 2018 when they played the quarterfinal, when the semi-finals. But just the final game, then go to the finals. And that's how England were beaten. The Three Lions were just, I think, hammered and killed. And it was more about the revenge. But again, if you zoom it out and looking at what happened on the pitch, I should be worried. Because this is the England that is able to allow some goals. But of course, those were brilliant goals that Croatia, they scored.
Yeah.
But again, they need to really make sure that they check on their defense. Also, I think there's so much players with the same the qualities in England. Hence, it becomes very difficult sometimes just to maybe to be in the first lineup, to make the first lineup. So I hope that England are going to improve. If they are not improving, the next game, I think, of course, we know they might be missing Panama. They will qualify to the next round. But in terms of, I think, how they played, Croatia, I think they played good football. But in terms of how England, I think I was not very much convincing, despite of us calling for goals.
Yeah.
But this is not what, because the standard, we are able to see. Now we've concluded all the groups. So we are able to see how the game. Now, if England, they were playing like the games like Morocco, I think there could have been problems.
Let's move on to the quality of players, and in particular one player, because Harry Kane was absolutely phenomenal in this particular encounter. He's the captain of this English side, but also I think he led by example, scoring those 2 goals. And you can see in the image there, celebrating one of those goals that he scored yesterday. How important, William, is Harry Kane? And do you see England going far if Harry Kane is injured and is no longer available for selection in this World Cup?
Yeah, talking of Harry Kane, I think this is one is a striker, one of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah.
And is a striker that gives you so much more than just the goals.
Yeah.
And usually, if you compare Harry Kane to Haaland, Harry Kane gets involved.
Yeah.
Haaland does not get involved.
Yeah.
Haaland is waiting for an opportunity to score.
Yeah.
Harry Kane is going to create chances for you and also score for you.
Yeah.
Because in front of goals, we all know how good Harry Kane is. So England, I think they're really blessed to have this kind of a player in their team, and this like their leader also, because players like all the players around him, Jude Bellingham, Saka, Madueke, you know, they have like
The same
like yesterday. Yesterday, if you look at yesterday's game, you see that they produced a proper attacking masterclass.
Yeah.
About how they defend, for me, I agree with Gezani. They still have a lot of work to do, because they up front, believe me, up front, they are a team that deserves to progress, to go further in this tournament. But again, they say that the strikers or forward players, they win you games, but the defense win you the championship. So I'm still worried about how they defend, and because even their defenders, if, for example, they had the quality of Rio Ferdinand, the quality of Sol Campbell, you know, these like dogs, like proper defenders. So if you bring this kind of defense together with this kind of offense, believe me, then you can say England are a prospect. But until now, I think they just have the potential to progress further.
And you saw that header. What happened? He had to hide himself almost close to the center line.
No, it was
almost far, and he had to run. And the moment Justice scored that one, he went straight to the coach. It means that they trained that one. That's a good part with that. There was a plan for that, because always everyone is looking for Harry Kane, but he's nowhere there.
He was outside of the. He was standing outside of the.
Yes, and he had to run. So it is all about what they do during the trainings. Yeah.
So let's take a look at Group L in terms of how the standings look like after those 2 results with Ghana and, of course, England claiming victories in the first round of, this particular group. England, owing to a superior goal difference, are on 3 points with a goal difference of +2. Ghana in second position with 3 points with a +1 goal difference. Then it's Panama and, of course, Croatia occupying third and fourth, positions respectively in Group L. Time for us to turn now to Group K, because there lies a very, 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 very important, date for the supporters and players from the DRC. And since it is Thursday, let's begin with probably a throwback looking at, and depicting what transpired in as far as this DRC side. Remember that the first time, you can see at the bottom there, the first time they were at the World Cup was 1974. You can see with the shorts, and probably telling you that, it was quite a long time that they were there. But of course, on top there, 2026, you can see they're making a return to the global stage. But let's quickly zero in on the fact that Portugal really dominated this particular match and failed to get the result. In your opinion, what do they need to do to ensure that in the next matches they get a result? Because they had all the possession, had more shots on target, but failing to get, the all-important goals to ensure victory. William?
I think they have to play exactly how they played against Congo. But they need to be a little bit more creative, meaning that they need to do, to try and find Ronaldo. I know Ronaldo is aging and is a bit slower, but he's one player that if you have you give him a chance, he's going to score for you. They need to try and unlock him because the truth is that every team that plays teams that are superior than them, they will always try and sit back. They will defend with a lot of concentration. So you need to unleash something. You need to produce something that is not of the usual. Like you need to be good in the 1v1, eliminate one so that you have superiority in numbers and this and that. So I think they played quite a good game, and the fact that they did not score as many goals as possible, they were unlucky in some moments because it's not that Congo defended well in some moments. Some moments just they're unlucky because maybe the shooting was not right and this. But for me, they should continue in this, but also try and be more creative. Try and find Ronaldo, the one that he'll score. And if everyone if the focus is on Ronaldo, someone should stand up and say, okay, let's take the responsibility so that we see if they start to follow the other guys, then you open. This is what I mean when I say they should open up Ronaldo. It means that other forward players should stand up. Rafael Leo should do the things that he does more, but should be closer to the goal.
But let me before I bring in this, I want to ask you something, because Ronaldo is almost like an older version of Haaland now. He's no longer the Ronaldo who runs up and down. He doesn't chase the ball. He doesn't give you anything in the defense. He's waiting for people to give the ball to him, to create chances for him in and around that box. It's now 10 matches. The statistics are showing 10 solid matches in major competition. This is including the European Championship. Ronaldo's only scored once from the penalty spot. Now, I want to get your opinion as a coach. At what point do you think Roberto Martinez, the coach for Portugal, should decide, well, maybe it's just not working, and be brave enough to say, well, maybe Ronaldo, you're better off as an impact player coming off the bench. We reserve you for the last 20 minutes so that, the opponents are a little bit more tired, and then you can come and impact the game from that perspective. Because he's failing to, make a substitution when sometimes it's clearly evident that, Ronaldo is having very little impact on the game.
Yeah, I think the first thing first, as a coach, I don't think you would want older player to come in. Obviously, they will not bring anything. No, I mean, they will bring the experience and these things, but they will not bring pace. And when the opponents are tired, you want players that are going to be agile. Players are going to be, players that are going to be running up and down because the defense is tired, the opposition team is tired. So, number one, you don't want him to start on the bench. So, but number two, again, like what you already mentioned, you don't want to keep him for too long, even when you know that it's not working. You understand? So, I think Martinez started with Ronaldo yesterday.
On top as a striker. Yes. Which was the mistake that he made, because now you're looking at the energies that Ronaldo brings in.
But what other position can he play?
I think it's wide.
Right now is the only position that you can put him. You know why? Because when you put him wide, you want him to track down, to go and help the left back or the right back.
Yeah.
So right now, top is best because you don't want him to even go deeper into the midfield.
Just hang on top there.
You just stay there, be the distraction. But my point again is be the distraction. But you want
But it was lacking a pace, because I remember 2 times that the ball was just laid from the right wing. But he was late a bit to hit it. Hence he was forced just to shoot wide.
And hence my question.
Now comes a very critical decision for you as a coach.
Yeah.
Now you have to say, okay, are we doing it for Ronaldo or we are doing it for Portugal, for the Portuguese people? So if you are going to, if the coach is asking himself or his technical bench those questions, then they'll have to make a very critical decision. They have to make a decision and say, okay, you call Ronaldo, sit down with him as a manager.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with him. You see, we are at the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I know that how much you want it, but I think this younger player can help you achieve what you want. So let's try and play one, not play another, play another. If we so like this, it started yesterday, and you and me agree that the impact was not. Was zero impact.
Yeah, because my next question, as we wrap up on this issue of looking at Portugal in their first game, William is saying that the only position he can play is up top.
Yeah, okay.
He's not delivering on top, and he can't play in any of the other positions because they demand that you do a little bit more off the ball and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Having said that, is it time now for Martinez to probably tell him, well, I think you need to probably, take a back seat first and foremost? And is he brave enough to do that? Or secondly, is Ronaldo, I believe he's experienced enough, has seen everything in world football. Is it a time that Ronaldo probably says, well, for the good of the country, maybe the coach is not brave enough. I want my country to win. He goes and says to the coach, well,
I'll tell you when I got energy.
I think I don't have enough energy to carry the
and
team.
play this one.
Play this one.
Yeah.
Yes. It is all about the communication, because also Portugal want to show that they appreciate what Ronaldo has just done for the team.
Yeah.
But again, how do you do it? I think it is all about the communication, the coach and Ronaldo. And also Ronaldo can realize that I think I can't play 90 minutes. There's so much need for that. You are playing against Congo. Congo physicality and the defense, I think top notch.
Yeah.
So now I've failed to penetrate and to score. And not only scoring, but also sometimes even creating some chances.
Chances, yes.
He failed that.
Yeah.
So what you do, you tell them, I think I can rest.
Yeah.
Please, I can rest. Let us add some more fresh blood for that, because they've got speed wingers.
Yeah.
Leon is very speedy in terms of
they have
got good players.
Even on the bench, they have very good young players that can bring something, can be born like as
I think
top
maybe
stars.
the pressure was all about Messi started and scored the hat-trick. At this moment, don't compare about what the other friend is doing. Always we appreciate what Ronaldo has done in the world of football. Always we appreciate what Messi has done in this world of football. Just the same as Klose, a German machine at one point, who is still leading as the most joint with Reno Messi. Yeah. So sometimes no one is going to feel bad when you say Ronaldo, I think he's tired. Of course, we still respect Ronaldo. He's one of those that our kids, I think they are looking at and saying that I want to be him. Dedication. Yeah. I think the spirit of work, I think for me, is a top notch for Ronaldo. So I think yesterday night, it wasn't just happening. Maybe the second game we'll see what he said. Maybe it's all about maybe coming in, or maybe adjustment of maybe at least maybe being substituted. Yeah.
For the sake of our viewers, it wasn't just Ronaldo and Portugal on the pitch. The DRC were also on the pitch, and it was a historical day for them. And this particular caption showing us exactly how important that draw was for them. Just basically embraces everything and brings us home in terms of, what we're talking about, because it was their first draw, as you can see there, and first point at the World Cup. Remember that in 1974, they traveled, even with Sangomas, to the World Cup. Yes, this is on record.
Yes,
even with Sangomas, to get as part and parcel, Mobutu Sese Seko, Mobutu Sese Seko, the president at that time, even paid for Sangomas. They were staying in a hotel. They didn't even trust the chefs of that hotel. They went with even chefs
Yeah.
but still managed to record no win.
in 1974, they were picking the team that wins the Africa Cup
Yeah.
to go and represent going to the World Cup.
Yeah.
And what happened?
They
I think they were unfortunate. They were in the same group with Brazil.
Yeah.
I think they were beaten 3-0 by Brazil.
Yeah.
And all the games they allowed about 6 plus 3 plus 2. Scotland managed to beat them
because they never even won a game. They never scored.
They never scored.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that you are going to be very happy they scored this time.
Yeah.
The second World Cup. And it was good enough. I think our director did us justice. How the team was looking when it was called Zaire. and now it's called when they are doctors in Congo.
Yeah.
So I think it has been marvelous. I think I watched them. The players, they fought with their lungs out. They showed Africa that we are not just gone there just maybe for maybe leisure or maybe for tourism attraction, but we are here to participate. And this is what it means. I think a brilliant performance. I think it's not easy to be on the same pitch. Look at the goal that Portugal scored. A top-notch goal that they scored, and you can't blame them. So I think for me, kudos to Congo, Banaba Congo. We are very happy. And also they took the supporters. I think you saw a very big fat, wearing. I think always it's funny when Congo is there.
So those results in the group, coupled with the fact that, Colombia were 3-1 victors in this particular group. This is how Group K looks like after the results from yesterday and the early hours of today. Colombia sitting pretty there after their 3-1 victory over Uzbekistan. And of course, the Democratic Republic of Congo rather, and of course, Portugal on second and third position. Similar goal difference after that 1-0 draw. Uzbekistan, one of the 4 teams that are making their debut at the bottom of the table. Let's just quickly run through the results and confirm them in the last 24 hours. They produced 13 goals in those 4 matches that were played across last evening and of course early hours of today. And of course it began with Portugal and DRC playing out a 1-0 draw. And of course it was England who were on the right side of that 4-2 scoreline against Croatia. Ghana getting a 1-0 victory over Panama. And of course, we've just been, mentioning the fact that Colombia managed a 3-1 victory with a certain Diaz on the score sheet, formerly of Liverpool, now on the books of Bayern Munich. In fact, all 3 strikers from Bayern Munich on target at this particular World Cup in the first round. At this competition. Harry Kane also on target for England. So the Bayern Munich, strikers definitely doing the business at this particular World Cup. Let's catch a breather. On the other side, we look ahead to the other 4 matches that you can expect today and of course tomorrow, with a special focus on Bafana as they aim for victory up against Czechia.
Fabulous Engineering Limited, Zambia's largest and the most advanced engineering company. We have the following products: hydraulic pipe fitting, roller shutter doors, farming equipment, mining equipment, plasma cutting, surface grinders, shaving machines, spiral ducting pipes, rolling machines, lead bending machines. We install industrial plants and carry out all type of turning, machining, fabrication and engineering works. We also manufacture different sizes of locally made fabulous pots. For more details, visit our website www.fabulousengineering.com. Our new premises, we are located at plot number 7204 Kachiza Road, behind Migma, PO Box 38005, Lusaka, Zambia. Or call us on +2609555 764011 or +2609796 98382 or +2609690 64419. Fabulous Engineering Limited, Zambia's largest and the most advanced engineering company.
UTBM University, the prime institution for lifelong learning. Enroll your university education now. Call 0978 430872, 0977 766866. Email utbmuniversity@gmail.com or simply log to www.utbmuniversity.org.
Welcome back to Beyond the Whistle. And of course, this is live on BMTV, which is channel 114 on your Top Star bouquet. We're also live on our Facebook page, which is BMTV Zambia, channel 114. In case you're watching us on the go and on the move, make sure you leave that comment in the comment section about the show. And we always appreciate to get feedback from you in this regard. It's a do or die encounter for Bafana William. They lock horns with Czechia. Both sides suffered defeats in their first matches. How important is it to get a reaction from Bafana, and how do you expect them to line up and approach this game?
From the last game, I think if they are going, they are jittery.
Yeah.
They are not comfortable. I don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
Maybe they are thinking about that Africa is not supporting them, and players are not really strong enough to try and conquer.
Yeah.
But for today's game, I think what they need, they should start with the same team.
Yeah.
Number one, and then number two. The reason why I think since Hugo took charge, he's been picking. He picks Sundowns. Most of the players that plays in the national is Sundowns.
Yeah.
And he's done that for a purpose.
Yeah.
For a bit, and the reason is very good because most of the Sundowns players, Sundowns and maybe Chiefs, and they are comfortable with the ball.
Yeah.
Their clubs play built from the back. They are not, when they play, you see that is a team that is playing structured kind of football. And the reason why Hugo has over and over picked these players, he understands that they are comfortable and their culture at their clubs is possession football.
Yeah.
But, coupled with also creating chances to score. So the only thing that the only thing that I really looking forward to South Africa to do today is just play their normal game. I know it's a do or die game for them.
Yeah.
If they lose this one, I don't think they have a chance to qualify.
Yeah.
It's a do or die game for them. But with the pressure that the game is going to bring to them, on them, they should try and play it the way they've been playing.
Yeah.
Is one team that I've watched over and over, and it makes me proud to see them play the way they play.
Yeah.
Is like a dream to see Zambia play like that for me.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why I admire the way they play their game. So today they need to be aggressive in terms of chance conversion.
Yeah.
But they need to be very confident and they need to have the composure to keep the ball the way they keep it through the way they've kept it throughout the qualifiers and at Africa Cup. They've done well. So they just have to be very aggressive in terms of chance conversion.
Because they did qualify ahead of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and they were even docked 3 points, but they still managed to qualify.
Yes.
So that really shows you, and probably one of also the reasons he picks Sundowns players is not them just playing beautiful football, but also exposure, because Sundowns on a regular basis compete in the Champions League. And even at the latter stages,
Yes.
so they're exposed to different styles of plays.
The players play at the highest level.
Exactly.
Every year in, year out.
Yeah.
They play at the highest level of football in Africa.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I heard that William was talking about possibly naming the same starting 11. Obviously, we know that they received two red cards.
Yeah.
How will that likely affect their approach to this game? Because Tole and of course Zwan, who's probably the most skillful player to try and unlock the opponents with the experience that he has, are both not available for this particular encounter.
I think let's rewind it a bit. If the way they played at Africa Cup, like he's saying, we had I think a two setter back coming from Sundowns.
Yeah.
This time, the game that they played against Mexico, they played with Okono, that is coming from Hanover, and also they played somebody who's coming also not playing in South Africa. This 4-5, I think for me, it did them very bad.
Yeah.
Why? Because I think the combination of understanding each other. If there are some positions that you need to understand one another, it's 4-5.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you go forward, one should remain. But again, I'll tell you a good example how they were exposed. Sitore is into the midfield.
Yeah.
But he was found to run to play as the last man. How did they allow that? The right back, who is very consistent, that is Madao from Sundowns. You look at him, he couldn't cover up to come. And again, here you've got a player who is playing from Sundowns. They failed just to contain that pressure. If you look at how they started, they played like 5 defenders. Now, out of 5 defenders, you fail to man a striker, then somebody who is playing from the midfield, Sitore, comes in and get a red card. It means there's a problem. There is no communication between 4-5. So I think for me, I hope today he'll be able to iron such situations because they were exposed so much. Because even those red cards, they were avoidable. If the 4-5 were very much alert. Because 4-5, you can't go all of you. Even if you want to score, maybe to equalize, you cannot go for, at least let someone come, backtrack, because he knows where to run and he knows where to stand than a midfielder. So I hope this evening they'll be able to play and work out, tighten few screws. They can play good football. Sometimes if you look at them, because we're talking about 8 players coming from Sundowns, 8 players coming from Orlando Pirates, and a few are together with maybe from Portugal. So they've got a team. Let's believe in this team. I think forget about even them also mentality thing should also come to highest level. They know that Africa is against us. Why? Because of what is happening aside the political party that could have just driven away the support from Africa, but they need to mentor themselves and say that I think we need to stand and defend Nkosi Sikelele and stand for our national anthem, saying that let's see what is going to happen. I think for me, they have got look at how the goalkeeper William was so solid, regardless of I think allowing 2 goals, but it could have ended even more than 5 goals. But 1-on-1, he parries and it goes, he saves. So I think for me, I hope the team will stand today and make sure that they can up the level of our performance against Czech Republic.
The pre-match, conference ahead of today's game against Czechia, I heard Hugo Broos, when he was asked by one of the journalists, say that the reason why we did not perform is not his tactical approach, because he's been criticized by many of the legends of South African football that he played 5 across the back and so on and so forth, and tactically he got it wrong. He was defending and saying the reason wasn't the tactics, the reason was the fact that none of these players had played in the World Cup before, and that experience, or the gap in experience, was the major factor that caused them to perform the way they performed against Mexico. Is that a valid reason from a coach's perspective? How much does experience really come to the fore in terms of the performance of players at major tournaments like this one, William?
Yeah, I think it can be, it cannot be. It can be the reason, it cannot be the reason. Why I'm saying that is because players react in different ways to major events. And for example, a player like me as a player, when I'm given an opportunity at a major event, Africa Cup, final BP top 8, or this and that, my reaction was, I need to introduce myself. People should know who I am. So I don't think the whole lot of South African squad, Hugo says that it was because is that an experience of, because these players have never been at the World Cup. I don't think that is that can be a major reason why players failed to perform. I think players, when they have this kind of opportunity, most of them really wanted to show that, here we are, South Africa. Here we are. this is why we even qualified this team. You cannot qualify the team to an event and go there and choke.
And that's a lemon
How?
excuse.
It's not. For me, it's not possible. You work so hard to bring a team at a certain level, and then you reach that level and say no, I think this is not my level.
Yeah.
But why were you even performing to take that team at that level? You know, so
Coach, that's a lame excuse because one that you have to understand is that right now we are talking about, when you look at the team of Morocco, Ayoub is being a star. It is his first World Cup.
Yeah.
Cape Verde is their first World Cup. But they played very well.
In fact, it's his first major tournament.
First major
because he didn't even
tournament.
play in the Africa Cup of Nations.
Exactly, they didn't play.
Amrabat was playing in that position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, I think for me, it's not. Come on, let's understand this. Senegal, talking about Senegal, I think. Let's be honest. I think that's a lame excuse. But we know that after this World Cup, you go. I think we have no job in South Africa.
No, he's
we know that
retiring.
he's retiring, and I know that we might find him somewhere. But in terms of, I think South Africa, they just need to. I think to do the collective thing.
Okay.
We believe in them.
Okay.
I think they have succeeded.
Yes, for me-
They've conquered Africa. They have 8 players coming from winning the CAF Champions League.
Even Hugo himself, for me, he has done a great job with South Africa since he took over. Why? Because he's a firm man, he's a firm coach. He does what he believes in. But of course, sometimes the things I believe in might not work at the particular time. That does not take away the fact that I've done a good job with the team. So Hugo has done a good job, but maybe in this game the approach was not good. This even me, I agree. Why? Because South Africa played as if they're playing some club. When you go to the world, you need to, number one, first game, the first thing that every coach will say to his team in a tournament is, we cannot afford to lose the first game. So whatever it takes, we take a point or we win the game. So first game, this is how you build your confidence. You try and take a point or win the game. So you cannot go out there and play an open game. You know, you have 5 defenders, but still too many spaces, meaning that also the application of some players in positions was not at par. Maybe it's because of the instructions that were given. Nobody knows. But at the end of the day, South Africa were too open. They let a lot of spaces behind. Even if they had 5 men, still the application, like Gezani has said, the chemistry between the two centre backs was not good. You know, everything was like, they were just all over the place. So when you play a World Cup game like that, you lose it 100%. You know.
Let's wrap up on this fixture between Czechia and South Africa and look at Czechia, because the manner in which they lost against South Korea, they had taken the lead and they lost their particular match because, you know, South Korea came back from behind and won that particular match. That must be hugely deflating in terms of the confidence levels of this Czechia side going into this next encounter. If you were the coach for Czech Republic, what can you tell your players to lift their morale and motivate them? Because ultimately they need 3 points in this particular game as much as South Africa needs them, because they lost their opening encounter.
Well, is to continue where we ended the last game that they played, because especially in last 15 minutes, Czech, they played very well. That's what made them to win the game. They are playing against South Africa.
They lost the game. They were leading.
They are leading, and the concentration. I think you just need to go. You continue playing, because you look at, they did not panic. Sometimes chances will come, regardless of playing good football. I think for me, after watching them, I'll tell them, let's continue where we ended the game, because they know that for them it's a must win. For them it's a must win against South Africa. Hence, I think for me it is all about, I think you look at how they are. South Africa, they will just get into without working on those mistakes they made. I think they might face even allowing more than 3 goals this evening.
Of course, Switzerland locals with Bosnia-Herzegovina at 21 hours. Mexico are up against South Korea at midnight. But let's quickly focus on Canada up against Qatar. Obviously, one of the 3 co-hosts in Canada. The 2 other co-hosts, Mexico managed the victory against South Africa 2-0. The USA also managed a 4-1 victory in their opening encounter against Paraguay. It's only Canada, as one of the co-hosts, who failed to get the victory. Does that put them under even more pressure in this second game to get a victory against Qatar to get their World Cup underway?
I think they should not even look at the results for the other host, because at the end of the day, they have a point.
Yeah.
So usually they already have a place to build on.
Yeah.
They already laid the foundation. For me, they played a very good game.
Yeah.
They were very agile. They were very, very good on counter attacks. They are very quick. Alphonso Davies is doing a good job.
Yeah.
Canada should concentrate on trying to win this game, trying to get 3 points to win this game. And because if they win this game, they are, for me, I think, the team that gets 4 points.
Yeah.
But they have never won a game at the World Cup.
Yeah.
They lost the last game.
They drew. The previous World Cup.
No, my point is they have 1 point.
Yeah, they got 1 point.
So
yes.
meaning that they already have a foundation.
Platform, yeah.
They have foundation. If they go out in this next fixture, all they have to do is focus on trying to win the game. Because we drew, we win, and they see what happens in the last game.
Okay.
But the focus should be, they should not focus on what is happening with what America did or what Mexico did. They should focus on what they did in the last game. And they played very well. They build on that. They build on the point that they have, and they are good to go.
Both sides, Gezani, have never tasted victory at the World Cup. Qatar, also their opponents, yet to taste victory at this particular World Cup. Surely somebody has to get the victory today. But I want to draw your attention on the fact that it's not just enough for Canada to just win this match and qualify. They're basically looking to qualify top of the group, because qualifying top of the group ensures that they play the round of 16 match at home. Qualifying in second and third means that they have to travel and play away from home in the USA. How important, bearing in mind that is the status quo, they need to get a victory in this encounter?
Well, I think we are playing against Qatar, the team that is still struggling at the World Cup. They are yet to, I think, to win a game. It's very difficult, but again, Canada, they've got the home advantage. I hope that Alfonso, I think he's back on his fitness so that he can help the team. I think Jonathan also was not bad because I think he played good football. We need to understand that I think Canada is something that is very... I think they're still struggling, but being at home, they can use that advantage being at home.
Yeah.
But in terms of, I think, requesting and demanding a lot from them, I think it will be a very huge task, because we know they have been struggling in terms of football. Maybe because they're at home, they might register their ever win.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're coming towards the end of the program. Let me just get your thoughts about the African representation at this World Cup. Begin with you, William, and then Gez, you can probably wrap up this same question. The 10 African countries have produced 2 wins, 4 draws, and 4 defeats. Which African representative at this World Cup has impressed you the most, first and foremost, and which, African country has disappointed you the most, and what do they need to do to improve in the next matches?
Morocco, for me, they're not just African standard. They're out there.
Yeah.
They're out there. They're even far much better than some of the European teams or South American teams. So Morocco are like the team that has impressed me the most. The team that disappointed me during the first round of games is South Africa.
Okay.
I did, because I expected more from them.
Yeah.
I know them. I've seen them in the qualifiers, how they played. So for me, I was in the first round of games, for me, they are the ones that have disappointed me the most.
Yeah.
So I hope South Africa already have explained. I hope they can come in their, full confidence.
Yeah.
The way they play free, the way they play, but also be a little bit disciplined in terms of the way they defend, because this is not African level, this is world level.
Yeah.
So you have more intelligent players, you're playing against a lot of superstars in their countries, in their clubs. So one mistake, one moment of, when you blink, you find the ball in the net. So they need to be a little bit more They need to apply themselves a little bit more compact in defense, but do their thing going forward.
Okay. Yes. Same question to you in under a minute.
Well, it seems like I have almost the same answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, I think Morocco, they have shown us that they're on another level.
Yeah.
They are beyond African football because I think their performance with the Senegal, fantastic. Proud of them. Of course, somebody will tell you that Senegal, they lost it, but why are you happy? I think they have shown us that they're on another level. Also, Ivory Coast, they are good. But again, disappointing, like I told you, that is almost, I think, a similar. South Africa, look at how they qualified to the World Cup. You are in the same group with Nigeria. Then you beat Nigeria and qualify to the World Cup. Then I think for me, we expected a lot because even the players, the quality of players who are in the Betway Super League in South Africa, I think they're the top-notch players. Professionalism, I think for me in Africa, I think outstanding. This is the team. There comes the team that won the CAF Champions League, Sundowns. Hence, we expected them, the quality of players could have benefited more, but we are disappointed. I hope that this is not because Africa, they should be really against them, but I hope that this evening, they'll take the cat out of the bag and show us what they are made of. Very quality players, they can still deliver. So I think for me, looking forward, not a very bad results, of course, but kudos to African. We are not disappointed. I'll be honest with you. We are not disappointed. I think it's them because they have showed us that they have gone there to impress. Cape Verde, the first appearance, and you're able to score a goal. It's not easy. You score.
They drew.
So I think for me, we are proud of Africa. I think.
So let's just confirm those fixtures that you can look forward to, the games that are coming up today, later on in the evening, and tomorrow in the morning. So on your screens there, it is Czech Republic, or Czechia as they like to call themselves, up against South Africa. That match is at 18 hours. At 21 hours, it's Switzerland up against Bosnia-Herzegovina in an all-European affair. Then it's Canada's chance against Qatar at 03 hours, at midnight rather, at 03 hours rather. It's Canada up against Qatar, and sandwiched in between those fixtures at midnight is Mexico up against South Korea, coming on at midnight. It's been a pleasure doing business with both William and, of course, Gezani here on Beyond the Way. So make sure that you join us tomorrow from 16 to 17. For now, adios and goodbye.